gross.
So that's
okay, cool.
all that. I didn't want to give away your age just in case.
No, that's fine. 35.
That's a good age.
35. I don't.
I'm 32. I'm excited.
Wait, here's
for
what's hilarious. I'm not 35. 34. I'm an idiot.
Dude, okay, so right,
Even better.
so that's the best part, right? I knew like when I got to my 30s, I was like, oh my god, I'm an old guy now. Oh my, holy shit! And I was like 31. Oh my god, I'm 31. Oh my god, and each year. But it was the years I considered myself old. Like when I was forgetting my age, and I feel like that was 28, 29, and then and also not being because I'm dumb, self-admitted. I can't do the math either. So I'm like, oh, wait, what month is it? And I'm like, I think mine's on the 8th month. So if I'm before that, it's that, but it's that, take away one.
And my gauge is, I ask him, I go, how old are you?
So
and I'm always a year, I know I'm a year younger. So
That's
if he's 33,
perfect.
I'm like, oh, I'm 32. Okay. But now I can't trust that.
I just messed that up saying I was 35, and it's literally skateboard related because my other friend who just bought a skateboard turned 35. And in my head, I was like, that's the age that you skateboard. So I guess that's the age I am now.
Is that midlife crisis now? Like, did we shave 10 years off the average? Because
I don't know. I mean, I guess if I make it to 70 and the highlight was I bought a rad skateboard to go pick up barbecue down the street, then I think I had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
You get a cool looking mask. You get a cool looking skateboard. You got a dartboard.
Kim Kardashian's making masks, and I want them, but they sold out immediately.
What are they made out of?
Her
skin. She almost said her skin.
Skims. They're called.
Awesome. I would absolutely buy that too.
They're called skims, but
she just has enough butt cheek skin to make masks out.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like that is a market. So it's from her clothes that she wears because that's like only.
She has a clothing line.
Yeah,
it's like undergarments. And it's
but she
nice
wears
stretchy.
Them,
well, not like
that's where my mind goes automatically. John, I'm a terrible person.
It is. There's vending machines in Japan that are dedicated just to what you explained. So
yes, that is true.
It's not far-fetched.
I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, she's baking bread, brother. She's baking
what kind?
Cinnamon raisin bread?
Yeah, cinnamon raisin.
Cinnamon raisin bread.
Oh, nice. My wife made a zucchini bread the other day, which I didn't know is my favorite bread now, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, so you hear zucchini bread, right? And you go like, ugh, what the fuck? And then you're like, you taste it and you're like, why is this good?
That's also when I think I hit 34 years old when I was like, because I think carrot cake and I'm instantly like, I'm not eating vegetables and cake. Like, I want ice cream cake or nothing.
Yuck. I want yummy stuff and that's it, okay? I'm still a child at heart. But that's the thing where like you start going like, oh yeah, that thing that I loved when I was a kid like was killing me. You realize like, you're like, that doesn't help a growing boy. That doesn't do anything for you. What's the trophy for, too? You got a trophy back there.
Oh, that is the Eagles Super Bowl trophy.
You got a Super Bowl trophy for the Eagles? Wow.
They left it here, and they were like, you can hang it up.
It looks different from this angle, so like, that's probably
on TV. The Lombardi Trophy looks way different on TV, but it turns out it's actually just a trophy from a shitty trophy shop in South Jersey.
Oh my God, they fooled you.
Everything on this wall was drunkenly figured out. Like that was just a trophy that when we moved stuff out of my parents' house, it had no plaque on it. And I was like, well, I mean, I can't just throw away a trophy. I'll slap an Eagle sticker on it.
That's a good point too. Yeah, I would feel terrible throwing away a trophy. I would at least donate it.
Yeah. Well, and then what's funny is my dad saw it and he was like, oh, that was my trophy from this golf tournament in 1985. I was like, there's no nameplate. It's my trophy now. Yeah, sorry, buddy. Also, we have the same name, so it's funny. My name would have been on it anyway.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, either way, you could have taken credit for it, too. What's your so you regular golf. You've been doing a lot of regular golfing lately?
Yeah. That's actually the two golf balls up there. One was from a couple years ago. It was the first Eagle I ever had on a par 5. So on a par 5, it's a 3. On a par 4, it's a 2. So 2 under par on the hole.
Why did they call it Eagle?
I have no clue. I think because birdie is 1 under, and they were just like, what's more better than a birdie? Like
a fucking turkey? And they're like, no, stop making turkeys. What is no?
They're like, a hole-in-one's actually called a pterodactyl. Just that's the only thing we think cooler than an eagle.
Yeah, why not a pterodactyl? I don't understand. Like, But like an eagle, I assume, is because you hit the ball so hard that it could kill an eagle.
There you go.
Right? But,
so the one up there actually may have killed an eagle. It was last weekend I hit an eagle on a par 4 where I just drove a ball directly into the woods as hard as I could. It hit off of a tree and landed right in front of the green. And my buddy like couldn't believe it. And then I ended up chipping in and it rolled in for 2 on a par 4. But it could have literally killed an eagle.
So wait, okay, so this is stupid. I was just gonna say, I thought an eagle was when you just fucking wailed on it and you got a hole in one, but that's what's known as a hole in one.
A hole in one,
yeah.
They started with that one. They were like, all right, that's easy. Now we got to figure out. And some guy who was really into golf was also really into birds, apparently.
Yeah, bird watching.
I was gonna say the guy was like, what happens if you get in like 2 shots? And they're like, well, we'll call it a 2-in-1. And they're like, all right, Jeff, you got it with the 1. Let's keep going. Let's try something else. And the guy was like, hey, birds. I'm like, all right, we got birds, or the guy who's saying exactly what it is. I'll go.
We got to start this round, guys. We got to get this in before.
Yeah, they needed you, by the way. They needed a pterodactyl guy to go like, hey, why don't we call it pterodactyl? Like, why don't we call it some badass?
I'm always a proponent for like spicing up old sports. Like I love baseball and I love golf, 2 of like the oldest sports in the world. And I'm all for if you wanted to add cool stuff like that. Like I really think if and when it comes back, since this season's going to be kind of like an asterisk season anyway, they got to enact the rock and jock where in like the 7th inning, you run the bases backwards. Yeah. That was the most entertaining thing in sports from when I was younger. I remember that more than I remember like the Phillies being in the 93 World Series, which was the biggest thing of my life. I remember Bill Bellamy going backwards on the bases and like tripping Nelly more than anything.
And that's the thing is like, that's something that I think we can appreciate. I think that I think a lot of, like again, you have the dartboard, you have the hobbies, like men love the hobby thing of it. And part of that would be literally just fighting your instinct to go this way and just remembering that's a strategy. In fighting, like your strategy is like your strategy. This guy doesn't know what I'm thinking, so that's part of this. Like it really is part. Like so, it is adding a new mental because it's just kind of habit after a while. Like it's just routine where they go like hit the ball, walk around. If you watched it fast forward, it would look silly. Yeah. But if they're running this way and this way, you're like, wait, hold on, I gotta find out. I'm gonna stop this and find out what the fuck's going on here. Why is he running this way?
That would show you like who the true natural athletes are. Like you said, some people have just done a thing in sports so long one way that they're the greatest in the world at it. But could you put that same person, you're going to find the person that's a natural athlete is going to round the base and go in a second, like better than anybody else. Yeah. So it might separate the wheat from chaff.
Yeah, for sure.
And your point too is like that, like baseball does need a little bit of churching up because like the amount of fat that you can be in that sport,
it's amazing,
and still be like an elite athlete.
Somebody retired from the Yankees. I can't remember who the baseball player was, but he's ripped now out of retirement. Yeah, and he had a belly. When he was playing, and now he looks
piece of shit. And it was literally because like he didn't have to be in shit. That is also why I love baseball. It's like you can just be great at it. Like there's people that don't have to work. Also with golf, like if you look at golf, John Daly is one of the biggest pieces of shit in the world, and he's also one of the he's one of the best, probably 100 golfers of all time.
Wow.
Isn't that the guy that would like smoke cigarettes and drink beers and like just like fucking he didn't give a shit?
When you're that started missing cuts for the tour, he just basically started like I might be making this up in my head from pictures I've seen, but like a Hooters sponsored tour where he just went around and played these tournaments and like there's just Hooters girls. He would tee a ball up on a beer can and like hit it and then chug the beer. This might be awesome.
Is that Tin Cup also maybe? Is that what they inspired Tin Cup, the movie?
It could be. It really could be. It's such a good movie.
But that's, I don't know. I like that. I like the showman part to anything. Because baseball, like you said, like.
Well, that's the performing of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like baseball is one of those things where like, it doesn't take a lot. It has as much personality as it's considered a boring sport. But and when there are personalities, people hate it because they're like, this is supposed to be boring.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it's like they have almost like fighter type personalities of somebody like that. That's going to be like one of my favorite quotes that I ever heard from Rampage Jackson, Quentin Rampage Jackson, aka B.A. Baracus, in the new A-Team movie. But he said, like, when I'm training, I can't have ketchup. I love ketchup. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, a guy like that's that funny, he gets it. You know what I mean? Like they're
like, also, I really feel like he loves ketchup that much. Like,
and he's like pissed.
I want to beat this fool. Too, like, that have to find that thing that like there's some athletes that are just like, I do it for my family or for God, but like I love when an athlete finds like the insane thing. Like I've been watching the Jordan documentary, and they were like, he would make up arguments with people in his head to make him better than them. And then like later on they would ask him about it, and they'd be like, nah, he never said that to me. I just needed like something to fuel me. But like I love that, like, because for Rampage, like that ketchup thing is literally like you kidnapped his family. Like that's
that's what I'm saying. It's like I was like a person who like I like it sucks because a lot of the things that I like are like the sports that I like are like, I think oftentimes pigeonholed as like, because like a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like I like, yes, I like hockey. But I like it. Like I like the sport. I don't need a lot of the stupid like shtick stuff to it. I don't need a lot of the.
You need the light up puck. I still love that.
Like stuff like that. Like can you just leave hockey to the people that like let it?
Yeah.
Baseball doesn't change. Baseball never. Like they don't change a lot. Football does, but and you can see how that ebbs and flows. Like
I feel like hockey does a pretty good job of trying to keep up and keep it like an interesting game. But
hockey's probably one of the I feel like, and that's where hockey's one of my favorite sports too. In just that, like you could take a hockey player from the early 1900s, put them in today, and they'd probably not do great, but they would figure it out. It's not a totally different game. Football, you take somebody from 1912 that didn't wear a helmet and put him in today, and he's just standing there on the field. Like,
you would be an elite athlete in 1912. Like you would, I get so mad all the time.
I get so mad.
You know what I mean?
I get so mad when you see Babe Ruth, which, and I always have this argument with my buddy, like, could he play in today's baseball? Right. Maybe. Like, he might have been that great that he could adjust. He probably wouldn't have been as out of shape and smoking cigars, but like, would he be the greatest of all time if he played today, or would he just be that fat first baseman that you're like, well, he's a lovable guy, like, we keep him on the team,
he's kind of like a mascot around here, he's good for the young players. He helps them out, But I think that's like
he's a mascot.
He's kind of like the spirit of the team, He's the heart of the locker room.
They cross the Philly Fanatic and Babe Ruth, and it's just like a big fuzzy Babe Ruth.
With a cigar. Yeah, it was perfect.
But the things that I love like all aspects of them. Like I've loved them my whole life, kind of thing. Like I think hockey has the best sports
You've loved
movies.
Me your whole life.
Yes, that too.
Oh, yeah. Every aspect of
hockey. It's hockey. It's martial arts, and it's
this one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Old red Mike over here.
Yeah. Old Mike number 2. My co-host. No, but it's like I love it. Like I think like martial arts is another one that like and it's kind of one of those things that like I bought a couple of shirts today. You know what I mean? Like, but like I love like you've. First of all, I want to say I know we haven't introduced you formally. We will obviously it's in the title.
That's all right. I just want to be the rad skateboard. Baseball.
But John, John Montague here is wonderful at cutting promos, and you put so much fucking hilarious effort into it.
So good.
And the one thing I love about Manny and Youngblood is the fact that like they are like. Yes, people get a lot of shit. Like, I think wrestling fans get the most shit, and they're the most fearless to wear. They love wearing those shirts like that. Yeah. So it's one of those things of like, if I did love wrestling as much as they did, I think I'd still be self-conscious about wearing shirts because I feel almost the same way sometimes about wearing like I like Conor McGregor because of his martial arts and his performance, his spectacle.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like if you don't like, I don't like him because he's white. I don't like him because he's Irish. I don't
I actually hate him because he's Irish.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like one of those things of like, yeah, it's fucking annoying to have a bunch of fucking bandwagon fucking drunks out there in the audience. Like when I'm like, no, have you seen him? Like he's fucking incredible because he is like a real life. We were just talking about it before the show. There's a Bruce Lee documentary, almost like a 30 for 30 type thing coming out on ESPN. And from the footage I've seen of him, I'm like, was Bruce Lee bullshit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so like there's people, but there's still people that are like, I love wearing Bruce Lee shit. And I love Bruce Lee and he was a badass. But like really the only footage I've ever seen is him with people that are his students. And also people and him in movies where, it's
it's always stacked in his favor.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's like those videos of the guys that you see like this, like the old fat guys that are like this in a gi, and like one of their students come over and they just go whoosh, and then that's
one of
away.
My favorite rabbit holes to go down is when people sell it for like their sensei.
Yeah. Right. And that's what I'm watching this footage of Bruce Lee and I'm like, wait a minute, is this guy bullshit?
That's a good point.
So like,
and it's funny too because he's such an icon. But then you're like, what were you? You're an icon for being the karate guy.
Yeah,
you weren't. It wasn't like, oh, he was a guy. Like you take someone like Chuck Norris, he actually used to fight, right? Like,
yeah, I believe so.
And like, I'm probably making us, or like, was Jean-Claude Van Damme on the opposite end? I don't know. Was he ever like actually a practicing?
At most, maybe a points karate guy. You know what I mean? Like somebody that like might be like put on some headgear, spar a little bit, but like there's been shit that he's been showing, like there's video of him on Instagram and stuff showing like Nate Diaz like moves. And he's like, you know, if you're doing this, and it's just like, you're like, holy shit, he knows real martial arts. I don't know if he ever competed. But but Bruce Lee was talking about fighting Muhammad Ali. And it's like
that pisses me off. Like,
you know what I mean?
It's been my favorite movie of the past like couple of years, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, even though it's embellished the whole scene.
Yeah.
People were like really pissed off about what Tarantino did there, but I think like it did expose him as like he was just a kicky punchy actor. Like
he's a lot of talk. He's really cool. He's a good showman.
Oh yeah.
But like, would he be able to back it up? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying like Conor McGregor and I'm not saying
showman,
that I'm not saying he's better than Bruce Lee. Trust me. Jesus Christ, don't let the Irish hear this. Oh, he's got a good point. But like he's somebody that goes out there and says like, oh, this is how I'm going to do it. I just have to envision it. I just have to do this. And you see him in the locker room 20 minutes before his fight, practicing the move that he fucking crushes this dude with. And you're like,
that is amazing. I can watch that on loop because like it is frame for frame. Like, and I don't know if anyone's ever overlapped the two. Like, if you could superimpose both on top of each other.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
It is so like meticulous, and it just shows you that he has thrown that punch in his head and in his gym a million times.
Right.
And it shows you like he found that whole like, and he probably studied hours and hours of footage of, all right, well, this punch is gonna it's gonna take him down. So I'm gonna now I'm sure he trained a million other things. I know he was doing all of his weird beach workout. Like,
but
I love that stuff too, because like it goes back to he has the wherewithal to do different stuff. Like if you want to have longevity, like you got to try different things. He'll probably tell you now, like I didn't need mobile or whatever. What was the guy called? His the guy that he
coach.
He ran around on the beach with
and
but
he's
at that
his
point,
arms,
maybe he did need it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he needs it for his mental. Like helps him.
And if you do that before the fight, that you do the thing where you punch the guy out with one thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're like, okay, well then, if I just only had to do that, then the next time it doesn't matter what I do. The other person's going to be like, oh fuck, I'm not doing that. Should I do that? Or because
you get in their head. Yeah.
And that's
because you figure so many fighters are probably looking to him for like, oh, what's he doing? Like they'll all knock it, but I'll bet you there was a lot of fighters that found a friend, went to a beach, and were doing cartwheels after they saw Conor McGregor do that because they were like, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's the one thing I'm missing. Yeah. And then 3 cartwheels in, they're like, nah, I feel like an idiot. Let's go back to kicking and punching things.
Right. That's what I'm saying is like fighting. I think Rocky is another fighting movie. It's boxing, but it's another fighting movie. Like that's one of the best, like blood sport, things like that. Like they're like, that's what UFC is, and that's why I love it. I don't love it for the dude bro like affliction shirt.
That's the worst thing to happen to that sport, and it's weird because I hate that it happened. Like I'm always I've been like a peripheral like UFC fan, MMA fan. A lot of my friends are into it, and I'll watch fights. I love it. Like I have fighters I'll follow, but that is one thing that always like kind of kept me at an arm's distance. Also because I grew up in South Jersey, where that guy is Southern New Jersey. That the UFC bro, he got a full sleeve in the same month. He is like, that person runs rampant down here. So I remember going like to the local bar to go watch. I remember it was a BJ Penn fight, and I had on Ruka, the brand, and I just happened to have that shirt on because I think until like last year shopped at Pacific somewhere. Yeah, and I was just like,
I used to work there.
Great store. I'm not gonna lie. I still go on the website once in a while, and I'm like, I need some Vans. I can't go in the store.
You're not making eye contact.
When I worked there, we sold skateboard decks and wheels, and like it was
in the good old days.
In the good old days, and then it was like, oh my god, now it's just clothes. And
But it was like, so I had a Ruka shirt from there, and I remember some guy turned around from me and put his fist out for like a fist bump. He's like, I'm a big BJ guy too. And I was like, first off, what? Like, I'm at a bar. I was like, I mean, yes, we all enjoy.
Yes, we all enjoy.
Look at the menu, you're like, wait, where did I walk?
Yeah. And then he was like, I remember this guy like was like cracking his knuckles like he was going to be in the fight that was coming on, and like stretching. And I just remember looking at it and being like, I can never wear this shirt to a bar. I have to like look online to see if there's a UFC event before I wear this T-shirt to a bar.
Yeah, because
in 2000 and whatever it was, 2008 maybe.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, see, that guy is still embedded in my head as like the UFC fan, and I feel like it's getting somewhat away from that. I guess like them not having like a deal with Tap Out anymore and stuff like that. Like, that's huge. Like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always love Tap Out. Always threw me off too. I tried writing a bit about this, and I'm sure 50 people have it. But just how would you name your company after the thing it takes to like lose in that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so true. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Like,
I guess. Well,
it goes both ways.
Yeah, because you want them to tap out.
Right.
Yeah, you want them.
But it's so funny to think of like a guy wearing that shirt, and he's the one that taps out.
Yeah.
But that.
Welcome to Forfeit Brand.
Yeah.
I think we just talked it out here. We just figured it out right here.
There it is.
Is you talk about it. You say you just do a little act out where you're like, oh yeah, well you're the fucking douchebag, fucking wearing the fucking shirt that just when you're fucking a bitch.
Yeah.
Like you just play the guy who's making fun of that guy.
Pat, you just cemented yourself as the best comic in South Jersey with just that act out right there. So many crowds would be like, I mean, there's a lot of bitches around here, you know.
There's a lot of fucking bitches, you know, like they're fucking.
So is that where you're living now, in South Jersey, or is that just where you're from?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'm from. It's where we moved back to. It's funny, like I'll say my wife doesn't miss Central PA, but like I do. And it's mostly because I think I interact with like Pat and Manny and Mike and Youngblood and Charles more than I do with a lot of my friends like that are back here.
Right.
Like, because it's every day on like a group text or like getting on, Zoom calls for podcasts. And this morning, I was like, man, I kind of like, I knew I was coming on with you guys. Like, I miss like seeing them at the mics, and I miss hanging out. And then I was making a cup of coffee with Little Amps coffee beans. And I was like, I'm as Central PA as I can be right now.
Yeah, you are.
I don't know. I didn't know you missed it so much.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do at times. It's weird. Like, I think if it wasn't for getting into comedy for my last 2 years up there, I wouldn't have given a shit about Central PA when we left. You know what I mean? Like, there was a couple friends I would have missed, but like that was where I started comedy. So it made it, it's always kind of like the Comedy Zone is, I got spoiled getting to go to open mics there in an actual comedy club. And then I came back here. And the first one I went to that I now help run this at High Note in South Jersey, it's an amazing room, but it's in the banquet part of a bar.
Yeah.
Which I guess technically, I guess Comedy Zone is kind of like a banquet, a bingo hall and a bar, but having the stage and everything. So it was kind of, I got spoiled out there. That wasn't me getting choked up. That was
the rest of your breakfast shake.
But take 1 second, turn this fan off. I'm freezing. Hold on. I think I'm shivering.
Oh no.
Oh no. But yeah, I think that's the thing. I used to actually go out to that mic in High Note.
Oh,
back.
did you?
Yeah. That was I was just saying.
Oh wait, I think I have been to High Note.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to actually kind of frequent that mic at High Note.
Okay.
When it was the former host, right? So I think it might have been two sets of hosts before. Like it was.
Yeah, there was always there's waves. Like the big thing around here is there's like teams that run mics, which is great because it doesn't all fall on, like at Comedy Zone, it was 2 hosts and they just went back and forth. Manny did sound every week. Now at High Note, I think we have like 7 or 8 guys that are involved and are actually like bought in. When you get as a part of it, they make you, hey, you got tossed up X amount of dollars. Now you are part owner of this soundboard. So if you ever want to go do a show, you have, this soundboard, this backdrop, this stage, you're invested in it. So it's awesome. Like we haven't really done anything with it. Obviously now it's kind of on hold, but yeah, so it's always been teams. But yeah, it might've been, if it was 2 years ago, it's probably, there's still some people that are involved with it that were in then, but it's funny. Like people just keep cycling through either if they move or kind of fade out of comedy. But yeah, sorry. That was the long explanation of going.
No. I was going to say,
Pat, you've been to that room.
Well, that's what I was saying was like when I started.
I'm back. Sorry.
No, you're fine. When I went there originally, I went to it was like a really great room. Like there was a lot of people there and stuff like that. And I remember going after some of those new hosts came, and it wasn't that like it was. I think it was just an off week in general. But I don't know if like when that happens, like however that was running, where it was just sets of people like that, wasn't working because as soon as those 2 people leave, then 2 new people come in and nobody wants to go to that mic because it's not tried and true.
I see what you're saying.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I think the way you guys are doing it is a lot smarter. And I'll tell you what, I didn't know you were missing our beautiful faces so much. We'll come out there. We'll start coming out there no matter what. I'll tell you what.
I mean, I try to sell it to everybody out there, and it is a hike. Like you have to.
It's like a 2 hour. It's right outside Philly.
It's exactly 2 hours.
Well, that's what he did. Was you would go to that mic, and then you would go to Philly. So if we went to that mic, he was doing 2 mics. He was trying to double up.
That's the good thing. Like if people do it right, they can. Like we'll have some comics from Philly that will text you and be like, "Hey, can I get up earlier?" Or, "Hey, I'm gonna hit 2 mics in Philly and then hop over." That was something I was new to. Also, having been from starting in Central PA, it was either Harrisburg or Lancaster.
Yeah, you couldn't hit multiples.
Yeah, if you went down to Baltimore. So yeah, getting to come back here and do it. But now that like I'm a part of the room, it stinks because like I can't leave. Like I've tried that. But, like if I'm not hosting or doing sound, like there's somebody doing the light, everyone's cool with it. If you're like, hey, I talk to them over there. But yeah, it's funny. It's almost like it's a good competition between Philly and South Jersey, but some comics won't cross the bridge either direction. It's hilarious.
Wow. Yeah, that's weird.
Stupid.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. They don't know they're
spoiled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I wanted to do that. Like you could live in a somewhat suburban or suburban area and still be able to hit multiple mics in major markets like that. Because at the time when I was making those trips, I didn't know fucking anybody in Jersey or anybody in Philly. So like I would go there with my friends who are also visiting, but now most of my friends live out in those areas.
They're there now.
So it's like if I do go out there, I can it's not just a weird awkward 2-hour wait until they put me up near the end.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying like I don't deserve any special treatment, nothing like that, but like at least I can hang out with somebody for 2 hours until like, you know what I mean? Like I can hang out with my buddy until the end. Like if you're stuck
instead
there
of
and
just
I'm stuck
sitting
there,
in the back of a mic. Yeah,
fuck it. Then I'll do that. You know what I mean? And so like, that's the thing of like, that's one thing that we've realized about like, cause we're newer to, to upstate anyway. Like we down in Florida, we had our roots mainly there.
You guys got out. That's amazing.
Now we actually have it. Now we got. Now we know people in different areas, and now we actually, So but it's good to know. Like, have you been doing any like virtual mics or have you guys done anything like that?
I did one. So we like early on, the group that I run the mic with, we was like, guys, I don't think it's even worth our time. Like, let's not do it. So I was always curious. Like, and of course, I think I naturally just like poo-pooed virtual mics because everyone else that I love. But then I realized I was like, it's comics like New York comics that are actual like career comics that were shitting on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, like I wouldn't like it either if I was at the level, I was doing, the Cellar every night. So I did the first virtual show I did was someone reached out to me and it was a non-comic running it. So I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting or it could be better. And it was for a sober bar down the shore. So
no.
They were like, "Hey, it's called So Bar," and I'll plug it. I mean, if anyone wants to go down the shore and not drink, they were awesome. They ended up. It was amazing how well they did. And I say, well, this one girl ran it. She left a couple people off of mute, so you could actually get like reaction and interact with people. Like I did 2 minutes of crowd work to one guy. Like
nice, hell yeah.
He kept popping up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk to this guy. But yeah, I mean, it went really good. Probably as good as it can. And now like I'm seeing these clips of other people's virtual mics, and it's just a Zoom hangout. Like it's not, and the problem I realized was it not a problem, but it's the idea of like at an open mic, you're doing your jokes just to comics, taken to now you're doing jokes to comics just in your living room, which is fun. And it's fun to work out jokes. But this was cool because other than like the 7 comics they had on the Sober Bar show, everyone else was just a recovering alcoholic that didn't want to drink that night. And I, ironically enough, was probably one of the drunkest I've been at quarantine while on it. But they were cool with it. I asked, I was like, do you have any restrictions? Like, you know, is there anything I can't talk about? And they were like, and that's the good thing is like former addicts and alcoholics, they find that stuff funnier than anybody. Like if you're talking about drinking.
They've been through it. Yeah. They've been through that shit. Like
they've probably been through worse.
And they want to hear about somebody else. Yeah, they want to hear about somebody else fucking up doing something stupid. Or like, at least I never was that bad. Like I have a story where I fell off a roof that I tried to turn into a bit for the longest time. And it was like, I have no idea how to, because it's not like, basically the funniest part of it was the fact that I fell off the roof and didn't get hurt at all. I didn't get hurt a little bit. It actually cracked my back and made
But that's
me feel
why, when you're drunk and you get into a car accident, you survive because you're so loose. You're like, what's happening?
Yeah. They may not love that story where you're
so you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna let go and now I'm gonna fall.
They want to laugh at your bottom. They don't want to hear about like the time you got away with it and didn't learn anything. I was like, you know,
yeah.
Like I don't fucking whatever. Like I was 6. It was like those Mickey's hand grenades, like those little. Like
those are great. Yeah.
6 of those.
If you buy enough, they come with a T-shirt. It's great.
He did wrestle on that roof too. I don't know if that was the same night that you
wrestled on the roof. How much? What was the incline we're talking here?
It was flat at one point,
and it was like
sandpaper. And then the other part of the house, it was bolted.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So the part that we would hang out at was flat, but it wasn't that big of a surface for him to be drunk and wrestling and then not remember it. He just the next day was like, I got like scratches.
My back feels proper. Like it's real life.
No, I remember every minute. I remember every second of that.
Yeah, the falling.
But like that's the worst part is the fact that right before that I was wrestling on the roof. So I don't remember
that was the same night. Okay.
Yeah. So.
I love that your idea, Dom, of like it wasn't the type of roof you could wrestle on, but I love your idea that there is like that. I feel like that's a Florida standard. You're like you're looking at houses and you're like, I mean, this is a roof we could sit on, but we're looking for one that we could have a 6-man tag team match on.
Well, and like that was. I mean, I got on this roof because it was easier because there was like a wall that you could like kind of prep up and like jump on, and it was flat. A lot of it was flat, but that was their MO. Was they got drunk and they got on the roof. Weren't you setting off fireworks?
I think
no. There was another time where we were not setting off fireworks. We're not fucking weirdos, okay?
Okay.
We were shooting. We
hand
had a
grenade.
slingshot.
Oh.
We had a slingshot that we were shooting frozen fruit at cars that were driving past.
Okay, that's better.
It's not weird.
We were entertaining people with illuminated, beautiful things in the sky. We were wrecking their windshields with grapes.
Right. And it was a very busy road.
Blueberries, okay? It was blueberries. Okay. It was raspberries. It was strawberries. That was the biggest. Nice. That was pretty rough. That was
the most shootable.
It was loud.
Fruits.
It was really loud, dude.
I can imagine,
Did you cause a car accident?
Somebody
see me, I would have been like,
somebody slammed on their brakes, and we were like, "Fuck!" We're like, because like we're like,
I just snorted.
Hey, you know, I mean, that was the same house that we were living in at the same time that when we got hit with a hurricane, we took a child's tricycle that we found and 2 broomsticks and a bed sheet, and we made a sail, and we were driving down the street. I honestly think
we're from Florida.
30 miles per hour. Yeah.
It's so good to see that you can survive. That you guys survived Florida as a whole.
just barely.
Oh man,
my god!
It's almost like a Stephen King movie. Like the further away from it we get, like the healthier,
yeah,
we get. You know?
We're getting away from the cult. Like the brainwashing is slowly.
Yeah, that's great. I love like the idea too. I don't know what it is about, and I honestly think this is when you talk about like racism. This is a funny thing of white people, white men.
Yeah,
like we love drinking on a roof. The higher up. I feel like it's like a cat where they're like, the higher up they can get, the better they feel. I don't know what it is. Like, as soon as I bought this house, I looked at like the roof of the garage and I was like, we could drink up there. Like me and my friends at 34 could drink up there. And I just went up like this past weekend and that mentality's still in my head, but sober me was like, this is a terrible decision.
And that's what I'm saying is like, it's never, okay. So it's sober you. Thinking this is the problem with roof drinking is the fact that this is the only problem, and this is the only problem, okay? Because honestly, it should work, and it's beautiful, and it's honestly it's a safe way for you to have a different experience to drink, right? Because that's what all you want. You just want to have an experience. You go watch a UFC fight. You go hang out with your pals. Like you don't oftentimes just go to the bar just to drink.
Yeah.
But if you do, it's because you don't want to just drink in the same spot that you live.
Right.
So you go on the roof. You never see the world from that perspective. You're changing your perspective.
It is crazy. Like when you get up there, it's even like our houses here are pretty close together. Like when I walk out my garage, my neighbor's right there. And I have this view like of when I look at his backyard, everything looks like that. I one time went down his driveway and looked at my yard and I was like, I've never seen this backyard. And we've been here for exactly a year. Like next week, I was like, I've never seen this backyard before. Like, seeing things at that different angle. So it's 100%. It's funny. I was just thinking that the other day. Like,
that's what I'm saying is like, that's the genuine part of it because it's weird because that's exactly how I tried to get into that story was to say like, I don't know if it's a white guy thing, if it's higher altitude elevation training or something we're trying to do, like beer fest
plus
or something.
Alcohol.
Plus alcohol. But we like it's sober you that thinks like, oh, I know how to get up there and how to safely get down. But it's not sober you that's coming back down.
That's doing it. Yeah.
And
unless you sleep up there.
And that's happened too.
There you go. I just love the thing in your brain that clicks that you're like, I just discovered this new beautiful thing of like, man, you're looking at life from a different perspective. How can I make it better? Alcohol. Like
it just opens your mind.
I'm gonna get in my sentence, dude.
Yeah. You're choking down the beauty of the moment with booze. And I'm not knocking that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's anything that happens, and this could probably be an alcoholic statement where you're like, man, like you're at the beach and there's a beautiful sunset and like in your head, you're like, this couldn't be better. And you're like, I mean, I could have a Mai Tai in my hand right now while watching this beautiful thing. Like,
right. It's like saying like, oh, I love apple pie. Apple pie is great, but you know, how could you ever make apple pie better? Well, you can't.
Whiskey.
A Mai Tai.
And then Jim Beam comes out with apple whiskey.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it is. It's the fact that people like
it just makes it a little more fun. That's all.
Yeah.
Makes it a little looser.
It helps. It's
Grey Goose got that girl feeling loose.
Right.
There's a reason there's not rap songs written about being sober. Like
right.
Clean and sober, buddy.
Yeah.
End of story. Thanks, thanks so much for stopping by.
Just an intro. You get no verse, no hook.
Yep.
Instead of harming other people, we're gonna work on self-reflection, baby.
Yeah. Mindfulness.
So yeah, this is a it's a fun exercise that we've been doing. Normally I don't allow books in this house, but this was a thin one, so I did.
Nice.
This is a book entitled "If Double Ellipses," and it's from Evelyn McFarlane and James Saywell, and it's basically just a book of what if questions. And I like to pick the corresponding page to the episode.
Oh, I like it.
That I would.
So what are we gonna do when we surpass the pages?
You rock and jock it and you do it backwards. You come full circle.
Okay. High five. Thank you.
There you go.
And that's when the math comes in, and then that's when John is going to be responsible for helping me find the pages for coming up with that ridiculous, reckless fucking idea.
And that's when you have the first official GDP book burning.
Oh, yeah.
One book.
Oh, my God.
You're already burning.
This is how I have to draw pictures, so it makes it more interesting for me.
As you can tell by me doing this in the garage with rad stuff behind me, there's not many books in my life. So I respect that you have notes in that book.
So this is, I think this one is, more relevant for the time. So we'll ask this one.
All right.
Okay.
John, if you could receive all the products from a single company for free, but could not resell them, which company would you choose?
Oh.
And honestly, that's kind of how we're going anyway. Like one of three.
So, but like, is there a company that would we just say like, this is the company I like, and they would in this world have everything that I need? Because what about like clothes, food?
So
does REI count as a company, and then all of the brands that they sell?
Oh, see, yeah.
I say this like I camp. I've camped once in my life, but I'm picturing like if quarantine goes to the 10th degree and we're all in apocalyptic society.
Yeah,
I want some REI stuff in my life. I want a torch that can be lit and water. I don't know if that's a thing or not.
I'm sure.
I want one of those straws that you can drink anything. You can drink like cat piss, and it's like Fiji.
Because like the idiot in me, like it's weird because my wife makes fun of me all the time for this. I have a new hobby like every couple months, and I kind of have to. Like I just got into running during quarantine, and I'm the kind of person where I went from like I hate running, I'll never do it, to now like last night I fell asleep like researching the best running shorts. So like I get really into a thing, and then I'm sure as soon as it gets cold, I'll stop caring about that, and I'll have this drawer full of running shorts with good iPhone pockets. So like the idiot in me, that's the problem. You need the good iPhone pocket. Yeah. The idiot in me now is like, oh yeah, I need a running company that's going to supply me to do these runs. But then 4 months from now, I just have a basement full of, Brooks running stuff. And I'm like, but now I'm into Frisbees and these don't translate. Like
I thought about that because the same thing happened to me with with jiu-jitsu when I started that essentially. And essentially that's what I realized is I'm a guy who loves to turn hobbies. Like I love practical things. So one of the best things in the world that you can get me is something that is like something that I like is a gift that is like has an everyday use or like has multiple uses, like something like that. I like lose my shit over. Like this pen I bought when I found these pens. Like this became instantly my favorite pen because I'm like it has everything
my house
you need.
Is full of those. My wife's a first grade teacher, so we have every drawer has that multiple clicky pen. And I don't know if I've actually written with one, but every day at work I sit there and click all 4 colors and keep on clicking them.
Yeah,
I've broken one of his doing that. I was like, ooh.
And that's, but luckily,
it'll be cited in the divorce.
So it's a fidget spinner. It's a pen. It's it's also it can be like a weapon. It can be anything. So, but like stuff like that is like impressive to me. Like stuff like that, I do appreciate. But like I love practical things. So when a hobby is something that's like, oh, it's physical, it helps you physically, mentally, and it's also like fun to learn. Yeah, like you have fun doing it, and you're also like, it's something that's what I appreciate. So like I found out I joked about it this morning with her and my mom on the phone, but it was also kind of John. Okay, babe, don't listen for a second, okay? John,
just unplug her headphones.
Can I just ask? Yeah, hold on. Do you ever do this thing with your wife where you're like? You do this thing where you're like, wouldn't it be funny if I bought a skateboard? But like, but you're joking, but you're like half floating to see if you know what I mean?
I might pick up my iPad and take you on a tour of this dumb shit in this garage. And now it's getting to the point where like we've been together for 10 years, we've been married for 2. Like we don't know what to get each other, so we just tell each other like that dartboard that was my Christmas present because she was like, what do you want for Christmas? And at that moment, my brain was like, a dartboard would be cool. And the way I pitched it was like, Would it be kind of funny if like we just got dartboard?
Like,
got
wouldn't
really
it be
into
funny?
darts?
Like there's some like nostalgic, like kind of cool, like something that matches the wood frame in the garage. Like, wouldn't it be something like weird like that?
And then but no, that is it. I have a punching bag in my basement that was started on a. Her mom gave me $100 gift certificate to Dick's for Christmas the one year, and it was just sitting there. And I was like, "There's nothing I need from Dick's Sporting Goods that's $100. I guess I can get a bunch of socks." And then I was like, "Oh, punching bags," and that's how I pitched. Like, wouldn't it be funny if I got really into boxing? And since January, I'm like super into like I'm researching boxing gloves all the time. Like,
dude, if you need anybody to spar, I'll come a couple hours early before the mic. We can hit the mitts for a little bit because
it's so funny.
That was this morning. Yeah,
it's so fun, and in my mind, I'm probably the best boxer ever. Like, in my mind, I drunkenly posted a thing in Philly saying I'm the hardest punching comedian in Philly, and like it got 20 messages of like people taking it as a challenge, and I was like, no.
Can we just like, is there like a machine we can use or?
Yeah, well, because it's all stemmed off. There's one comic who always posts his stuff that he's the fastest, but then he'll actually foot race comics outside of open mics, and I thought that was amazing. Mm-hmm. And my brain was like, hardest punching comic. That's the best way to just have someone sneak me as soon as I'm walking out.
Yes, that is not a good idea, especially in Philly.
Yeah, well, now here you have the title now, sir.
No.
It's all yours.
Yeah, you can have it. You can just have it.
Yeah. We don't need to test this.
Honestly, if you just get me to flinch enough times, I'll just give it to you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, too, and I think it was in my brain. I was just like, well, I'm never going to be the funniest comic in Philly, so I want to be the whateverest.
The
so
best
now I'm
something,
like, yeah, now that I think I'm pretty sure I've narrowed it down to like 10 people that could punch probably harder than I can receive a punch to the face. I'm like, maybe I'm the best golfing comic in Philly, and I'm trying to put that challenge out there. And I saw like 2 that golf just on Instagram, so I'm like, maybe I can be the greatest golfing Philly comic.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I remember because this is something that I've tried before, and this was my challenge. This was my open challenge, and I'll put it back out because this was, I think, back in the Buddha Boys days. So this was some time ago. This was.
I miss the Buddha Boys, by the way. Continue.
I do too. I do too. It's fun. It was a fun thing, but this. I learned a lot about myself. I think that was the thing because I openly challenge anyone to any upper body, no contact, just upper body backyard sports. Cornhole.
Okay. Oh, I remember you saying that.
Anything. I'm saying darts. I'm saying any of these things. I will beat anybody in at any time. Mainly air hockey. I have the hardest. That was my challenge, by the way. I have the hardest air hockey slap shot in history.
Air hockey, or bubble hockey. So hockey. I'll take you. Okay.
I've tried bubble
hockey. I love because it's more challenging.
It is so much harder than
I'll show you guys at some point now. I have like the bubble hockey version that my dad and his brothers had. It's just called Pro Hockey, and it has the original 6 on the side of it.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. Yeah,
it's these old tin ones though, but it's from I guess like in the 50s, and it's sitting in my garage. It's beat up, but I'll put that challenge out. That's my new thing. So you can be the best upper body backyard guy. I'll say I am the best bubble hockey comic in the tri-state area. And I'm taking on all challengers.
And that's what I'm saying.
Meet me at a Flyers game in between periods. I know where they are in the arena.
Exactly. And that's the best thing too, because that's something that's so far the other things that I've started, like if it's playing like musical instruments, like I'll take that challenge. If it's air hockey, I will take that challenge. Cornhole, I will take that challenge, and I will feel confident talking shit before, middle, and after.
No matter the outcome. I lose.
Yeah, no matter the outcome. Like you did that once, you got lucky. Let's do it. Run it back, bitch. Like, give me one more.
35 times later, you're like,
I will embarrass you. I'm a double or nothing guy for sure. But so this morning, while she was baking some bread, and my mom was on FaceTime, I was just like, it's funny. I'm probably going to start fighting when I'm like 40.
Yeah.
And she's like, and they're like, uh-huh. I was just like, wouldn't that be funny though? Like,
no.
Because as soon as this is over, dude, not only am I going back to jiu-jitsu, I'm starting kickboxing, and I would like to study Muay Thai. So
Muay Thai.
Yeah, so it's already getting weird. Like, so I might buy that punching bag from you if you need it.
I'll tell you what, running has made me use the punching bag less, but I do. There's something I never boxed or did anything. There's something about hitting that thing. Oh, I love it.
I was gonna say, since you're such a good boxer, can you train me? Will you train me?
I'm probably the best trainer available to you. Yeah,
the best trainer
available to him. Yes, that is the truest statement.
Yeah, in my head, like that's my friend and I always talk about it. Like I'll watch these like boxing tutorials and I'll watch like highlights of. But the bad thing is, I'm watching highlights of Mike Tyson. I'm like, I can just learn how to punch like Mike Tyson. I'll probably, I got it figured out. Like that's like watching Jordan dunk, and you're like, I mean, if I just could jump that high, I could do it. Like,
if I could jump that high and I was like that tall, I could totally fucking do that. So it's no big deal.
If I could just do that would
Jordan.
be fine.
Yeah.
So I just thought of my company. My one company that I would receive all my products from would be Dick's Sporting Goods, because you get all of your needs. You get your.
Well, they have camping stuff, so they probably have dry food and stuff.
Dick's Sporting Goods is amazing,
and you get a nice innuendo.
Yeah, exactly. I giggle every single time I go in there.
Oh man, dude, I love BJ too. Like I would be
great. Like, yeah. See, that's what I hate, because I hate that guy because I'm so close to being that guy.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm gonna giggle at a fart every time until the day I die. Like, but then of course in my head, if I see someone else do it, I'm like, look at this lowbrow idiot over here. Like, doesn't even respect the nuance of the fart. Like,
it wasn't even a funny fart. Like he's just laughing at any fart.
Yeah. Dick's Sporting Goods is amazing, and it's so funny. Like for like my birthday and Christmas and everything for the past couple of years, that's been my like go-to. I'm like, just get me something there, because you can find anything if it's even if it's like socks and something good. But yeah, and also I found out this is also part of Big Brother's watching. But on the app, you can turn it on so that every day, if you've walked 3 miles, like throughout the day, you get 3 rewards points.
Oh, that's
your
cool.
purchase. That's a little plug for Dick's. Dick's Sporting Goods, where sports happen. I don't know if that's what their thing is.
Yeah.
But
what
so that's a good call.
I have no idea.
It's tough.
Sephora? What is it? Like, what do you need? Like
honestly,
hands
the
or
first
what?
thing.
What do women need?
That's probably like Macy's. The first thing that comes to my mind is H&M. I don't know why. I love
averagely
H&M.
made T-shirts. Actually, this is an H&M hoodie.
It's all sustainable. Like they recycle.
It's either the stuff from H&M is either my favorite thing. Like I'll never get rid of this hoodie. I'll cut the sleeves off if they ever get torn. I'll like wear it till it's just a hood. It's either that or it's like a pair of pants you buy, as soon as you put them on, they just basically disintegrate on you. So that's a great idea.
Pairs of pants on me.
You're a real disintegrating ass.
Okay, so it says you can't resell the items, but I'm sure you could barter them. I'm sure you could say like, "Hey, I got all these shitty jeans. Can I get some of your?"
I got these denims.
We can make face masks with it.
Bro,
the leftover scraps.
The worn ones, though. It's got to be the jeans that you wore and didn't wash, and you're like,
that's what they're gonna have. Like they're gonna have distressed denim fucking face masks with holes torn on them. You're like, what the fuck are you doing?
This is an acid wash face mask.
This is acid wash, so this is cool. And
this is actually raw denim. You can't wash it.
Like Victoria's Secret lace.
They're gonna have like lace ones and stuff like that, like. See-through, or like the ones that like have the little hidey hole that you can like open up. And you're like, I'm a
just for snacks.
So you have a lock, and then on the bra you have the key.
Yep.
So then that way, like you can open up the mouth hole so you can suck on the titty. Boom. There you go. I just did that for you, Victoria's Secret.
It's the chastity belt of masks.
Yep.
Man, the consent thing is gonna get crazy. That's what that's gonna like. Can I take my mask off? No, please.
New levels. Yeah,
man, leave it on.
I love your idea of Dick's Sporting Goods, though, because now I'm thinking like in the apocalyptic sense, and it's just you living off of Cliff Bars and Powerade.
You're so ripped.
I'm just fucking ripped, and I'm just like protein powder.
Because they have all the equipment. Like they have treadmills. They've got, weights. They've got everything.
Honestly,
you just fashioned a spear out of a barbell.
Yep.
And It's funny because like before this, like when I was just doing jiu-jitsu, I could barely lift the bar. Like, I mean, like I could lift the bar with like maybe 15 on each side, but that's maybe it. Like maybe 100, maybe that's it. Now I feel like I've got a kettlebell and some resistance bands, and just because of like sheer fact of like I want to be ready to go as soon as this comes back, I've been doing like just trying to do it as much as I can myself, and I've like worked on upper body, and I'm like, holy shit, like I could totally just be I want to be. That's when I was like, fuck, I could be a fighter, dude. Like this is like, this is dedication. This is how it starts.
Oh God, this is how it starts.
Yeah.
The tough thing is like you need to figure out what level you can fight at, and the only person that you're around right now is Dom. So you got to first.
Maybe that's my confidence. Yeah, because
but can I say that he has tried?
There's the challenge. Like if you can't get past Dom, then that dream dies.
Yeah.
But
I put up a good fight. I think.
Punch her in the face right now. Let's see what happens.
You want the elbow? Elbow back.
There you go.
Not 12.
So wait, Dom, do you do jiu-jitsu also?
No.
So that I've seen a lot of couples, and this is something I'm glad I'm talking to another married couple. I'm the only half of this married couple on this end.
So my friend, anything we give you, it's going to be your side of the story. So
exactly. But I see like a lot. It seems like jiu-jitsu is definitely something that a lot of couples get into together, and that's what's weird. Like I talk to my friend about this all the time. Like I have all my hobbies. My wife has like some hobbies, but there's nothing. And I don't know if that's like. I don't like doing something with her. Like, not that it's bad, but it's like when I run, that's her time to be away from me, especially during all this. Right. Or if I go in the basement and hit the punching bag, I don't know, as a married couple, like we don't have, other than like hanging out, watching movies, we'll cook together. I mean, shit, during quarantine, you know, we're the only people around each other, but there's no like hobby we do together.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Well, I think the hobby we do together is comedy. So
that's true. You guys have this. I'm in the thing that you guys can do together.
But I think with jiu-jitsu specifically, it's not a cult. It's 100% not a cult. But if you love jiu-jitsu, if you do it. So what happens is every time I go to watch, or if I'm around any of the jiu-jitsu people, they're constantly trying to get me to do it. And they're like, once you do it, you're going to love it. You're going to be obsessed with it. And I'm like,
she doesn't want to do it.
I just don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you don't want to do it,
I really don't want to do it. So I think that's you will see couples because one of them will cave and go, all right, I'll try it, and then they love it.
It's funny you say. I didn't even think about this. We are a reformed CrossFit couple. But it was the same thing. Like I started doing it because years ago my sister did it, and we knew the person that owned one. So I was like, I'll try this out. And then from my wife coming, because especially with that, I'm sure it's like jiu-jitsu too. Like everyone hangs out afterwards, and like every barbecue we went to, it turned into like the people at that CrossFit gym became our like friends we saw all the time. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you know, she worked out, but so slowly people chipped away at her, and she caved. And then since then, like I don't do it anymore just because my knees and back were hurting so much. And the cult thing, like as soon as you brought that up, like it's weird. Like, especially, I mean, on CrossFit, it's another creepy level of the cult.
That's a weird,
But at the same time, it was like we met, like the girl that officiated our wedding that we met out in Harrisburg, like one of our best friends, we met at our CrossFit gym. So it was cool. Like when we moved there, so now I think about it, we did have that thing that we did together. Mm-hmm. But even there, it's like we started breaking off. Like she would go to a class at like 4 and I'd go at like 7 at night. So we weren't doing it together, but it was at least something we talked about. But
like you had a shared experience.
And I think that's what like jiu-jitsu became a lot for some families, because the husband and wife would do it as well. They both, and they also have kids that were also in it.
A lot of them.
One of them would bring the kids. They would watch them during the class, and then the kids would hang out on the chair. And that's the thing, is the kids were fucking exhausted after that. So they would just sit in the fucking chairs and wait for an hour when the parents got their
Or if not, they could just go and wrestle. Who cares?
Do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. You won't get far.
But I think a lot of the adults started because of their kids. So they bring their kids.
I know a few of my friends that have started for that reason, whether it's jiu-jitsu or any MMA training. Yeah. Because it's the only one where like you're taking your kid to t-ball practice. There's not many now. There's adult baseball leagues, but unless you played up to a certain point, you're not going to go get all the gear. I'm
Right.
looking at all the baseball gear I bought sitting in my garage now.
Yeah, we're going to go look at his Dick's shopping cart. Let's go look on his online shopping cart and find out, well, I've got a catcher's mask behind you, but whatever,
that one's great. Yeah, that one
one
got split down the middle. I'm pretty sure I have CTE from that thing got a foul ball cracked off the middle of it. Like right at the end of me playing. That was one of the reasons I stopped catching. So I was like, I'm going to hang this up on the wall.
It's funny. That's the position I wanted to play in Little League. I wanted to play catcher or pitcher.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I play. And I played in high school and college. I played for a year. I was like the lowest level of minor league. I was a bullpen catcher basically.
Nice.
And the only reason was because I caught. And it was like I was good. I wasn't great, but it was like the position where it's like they always needed one. It's kind of, and I was like, you guys are hockey fans. When I was really young in like police athletic league, I played goalie because I was like, oh, every team needs a goalie and I never have to leave. I don't have to go sit. Like I can stand
That's why
for
I
a lot
picked
of the game.
I played roller hockey. That was the thing, is all the hobbies that I've done, any of the physical sports that I've done has been because I have like either she encourages me to do them or like but it's only because I go out and do them. Like that's the only thing. Like so I didn't play hockey as a kid. I played hockey as a late mid-20s, so
against kids.
I fucking wrecked them. But
I mean, you guys are starting. I'm starting. We might as well start at the same level.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same.
It was the same level.
It's like Kramer and the martial arts kid. The kids.
It's exactly. I'd pay so much money for a GDP side episode of you just destroying little kids in hockey.
Man, I would absolutely, or just like denying their goals, or just smashing them.
I tried to tell him he should coach.
Yeah, I would. And that's the thing is, I would do that. I would absolutely.
I think that'd be fun.
But I played roller hockey, and that was my thought. Was like my favorite like position, like watching hockey, was always goalie because I was like, they get to play the longest. Why wouldn't you pick that? You get to play the longest, and like you're like that's the game is like you're the star. Like if you can say the game,
or you're the villain.
Exactly, and that's what
that's a good thing too, though. Yeah, you're taking on the weight of both. So it's like I'm gonna get all the glory, or someone's gonna tell me I suck so bad. Like, so that's kind of fun, to be in that in between.
And that was my thing. Was like I wasn't afraid of getting hit with and that's what I was saying. Like that, this is all signs that I was like I was meant to be a fighter my whole life. I'm not scared of getting hit. I'm not getting scared of getting charged.
I'm so good at getting hit with things.
I'll just sit there and just like something comes in and I just go, bink, like you said, just right off the helmet.
Yep.
That's what the helmet's for.
Yeah, you were into punk rock music, so you did the mosh pits.
Mash pits.
There you go.
You got some aggression out that way.
Like this is.
Were you a big pit guy at hardcore and punk rock shows?
I wasn't the flaily guy. I was a circle pit guy.
All right. I always like asking people because that's what another one of, if you want to call it hobbies or phase of my life, when I was in like a thrashy hardcore band.
Whoa, what were you? The vocals, right? Vocals?
I played bass because that's the other thing too is I am very good at doing the minimum to say you do a thing. Like
Wait, what are you saying about bass players, pal?
Not as complicated as guitar players, is what I'm saying. Especially when, if I can find the audio, I'll send you a copy of our band. It was Let It Rip, greatest name ever.
Oh, yeah.
And
that is great.
We were like a super thrashy band where I don't even know if I knew the songs. I think it was just like, they were like, you like flailing around. But then when I went to go watch shows, I never was like an in the pit guy, really. I was always like the guy on the outside of it, unless if it was a circle pit, I was, like you said, that's what I was going to say. I feel like it says, I was like asking people which one they were.
Yeah.
Were you the showman that was in there? I still every once in a while will try to see if I can two-step, and I cannot.
I always, by the way, so my thing was, I was like, and I don't know if this is just one of those things that like every scene has, like everybody says like, oh yeah, well we invented the circle pit, but from what I've heard is that Florida was one of the perfecters of the circle pit, if not the
we were so good at circles. It was just
I mean
the
honestly
shape we mastered.
And honestly I think that's what it was like one of those things of like just give it to them, like okay,
do you think it's just you guys are used to seeing on like a Doppler the hurricane coming in?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like I think that's why they started it. Yeah. So they're like, there's
got to be so many good references at hardcore shows where they're just like, all right, give me an Irene pit. Like,
let's see some Katrina, motherfuckers. I want people on roofs in the back.
I want one guy standing calmly in the middle because he's in the eye of it.
That's me. I'm like, hey.
Okay, so that's why I think that's why people in Florida felt like they invented that, because we joked about this. There's going to be, I think, a sketch coming out hopefully soon, maybe a possible show from that I'm working on. But that was a character that we were working on. Is like somebody referred to that person as a thing, like a something pit general or something.
Yeah.
I was like
Pitmaster General.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah,
Pitmaster General. And I was like, who's that? And he explained it's the guys who just stood in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, that must be like a regional thing, because in Florida we called
Chicago,
those,
right?
Yeah, I was like, that must have been a regional thing, because that's we called them dickheads. That's what.
Well, the best was like, if anybody in Philly did that, because if you mixed like Philly, the asshole level of everyone in Philly with like everyone hardcore dancing, like that guy caught a roundhouse kick to the head at some point every time. Yeah. And no one felt like any remorse. Like,
right.
And it would be great because if it was a band from outside of Philly, they'd be like, whoa, knock it off. But then if it was like a Philly band, they were like, fucking 10 points.
And that's what I'm saying, is like, that's like the environment that I've always grown up in. So I'm naturally bred for Kumite.
There you go.
I'm ready to fight. So like, that's what, but I guess that's my point, is like, there's like the circle pit thing of it, like I forget what exactly it was called. Oh yeah, Florida. Like that was kind of like, I don't know if that was a regional thing of like, that's like what we had like with pits or whatever, but I did that, but I also did skanking. I would also at ska shows. Skanking is, so essentially ska
shows. Well, how many ska shows did you go to? You hated ska.
No, I was on my third show was Mustard Plug. Ever. My third show was Mustard Plug, and I fucking loved it.
Ska's a weird thing where I
hate it now. I hate the person that I was. That's
maybe.
I don't know where I saw that. I think it was just a meme, but it was like ska it was like ska is what plays in your head as a 13-year-old boy when you get like free peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something. It's like something like that.
Yeah, it's like something like when you get free ice cream, or you double ice cream for free.
That nailed it perfectly.
Yeah, extra chicken fingers or something like that. Like, so but it would always end up me trying. It's basically where you just try to.
It's a skip,
like a Carlton with the skip.
Oh, okay.
But it would just be me skipping.
You know the
around
Operation
the
Ivy guy. You know, like the logo. So that's skanking. That like
okay.
Like
okay.
It's a Charleston, but like you have more plaid on, basically.
Yeah. So I would try that.
And chains.
Yeah. I would try that, wallet. And I would just skip around the ring, and I would just get winded, and I would just be like, "Well, I got to sit out for a little bit now because I'm just tired."
That's did you ever hear the Wonder Years song "Mosher-Size"? The band Wonder Years from Philly, when they were like, because initially they're like more of a serious band now, but their first album, and they hate it. It was like more jokey, and they have a song called "Mosher-Size," and it's like, let's windmill our way to buffer bodies, let's mosh the fat out of our ass, and it's like this idea of like the only fitness that a lot of the scene got was from moshing, and it's hilarious.
That was one of the jokes that I pitched to about the group, was the fact that I was like, that was like the only exercise I ever got.
Yeah. A lot of fat guys with good calves in the scene, you know. Just you're a good calf guy. There you go.
That's what I was gonna say. It was like, that's me. I was waiting for her to reference my gorgeous legs, but she didn't.
She's too busy massaging them right now. I can't see her hand. She's just been massaging your
his
right calf.
His legs are very, very, very nice.
Nice.
I like his legs.
My gams.
I was wondering what we were going to talk about, and I was hoping at some point it was going to come to Pat.
I had it on the list. Yeah.
Okay, good. When you were saying with the different scenes, though, like, it's funny. Like, I think that the Circle Pit was definitely like, if you had a band that was kind of like that old, like, skater punk or like ska style, which Philly and South Jersey, it like that almost never happened around here. It immediately went to old school tough guy hardcore bands or like thrashy bands that were playing the same shows. So, like,
I can't imagine the Aquabats thriving in Philly.
And it's weird because like there is like, but it would be bands like then you would see them at like, I don't know if you're listening to Kid Dynamite, was a big Philly hardcore band, and that they were like that crossover between kind of that like skaterish kind of punk and a hardcore. So you'd have these big like you remember the FSU fight gang, like there was like the hardcore gang.
Yeah.
You ever heard of them? You'd have those big guys like all jacked out and in flat brim hats and like FUBU E-Town Concrete jerseys, like circle pitting sometimes, but it didn't really happen a lot.
It was so weird too. We had the problem in Florida was a lot of skinheads. We had a ton of so it'd be punks that get skinheads a lot.
Yeah, and that it would kind of get a little muddied, like when you would think about like punk rock people, and then you would see like, oh, like that's not punk. Like no. Like that's like anarchy, weird. That's not the same thing.
It started to splinter. So it used to always be like, even famously, like in a lot of even just titles of songs, punks and skins and whatever it was. So, but then there was like good skinheads that weren't racist, and it was all based on.
And those were like the straight edge skinheads.
Yeah, do you remember? It was based on the color of their laces or the color of their suspenders. It was.
So
that was what it was based
on. To this day, it's something like I see. There's one of the comics who comes to High Note all the time. He's like a big like old school punk rock guy, and he's got shaved heads, and half his routine, he's got like a mustache like yours, Pat, and he looks like a skinhead, but he's like the biggest like Democrat advocate of like nonviolence and all stuff. So most of his material is that. But then he went up with red laces on the one day, and I was Googling, I was hosting, and I'm off to the side. And I'm like, I was like, all right, now was it red was good?
Right.
And like,
no, it's bad. So, red is bad.
So his thing, which I kind of loved, and he's still holding on to it in his late 30s, is him and his friends were like the bigger, tougher guys. So they decided, because I guess that scene existed in Philly, South Jersey before I got into music. And it kind of faded out. He decided that they were going to take it from the skinheads and just make it their thing. I was like, yeah, but you look like a skinhead.
Yeah, so right. It's
visually,
hard,
unless you have 20 minutes to sit down and tell someone your beliefs, visually, your Doc Martens look like they have a certain color blood on them. Like,
right. That's the point. It's an intimidating thing. They would bar the laces and make it red. Or they'd bar the white laces, and then you'd be like, oh.
And that was part of training at Pacific Sunwear. You had to learn all the different ways to do the laces for the etnies.
That's amazing.
We would sit in the back doing all the different laces.
Do you have a certificate framed somewhere?
I wish. I honestly, I think
this is my racist lacing 101.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So we don't want to keep it too long. We got you.
Yeah, I'm good as long as you guys want. But
why don't you? So what? Like I said, you've been in the promo contest lately. What else have you been up to that you can send people to your Johnny Montague? I tried. It was funny too. I if I can just be completely candid. When I was trying to book this was so funny. I messaged you. First of all, I went to search for you on Facebook, and I was like,
right.
Are we not friends, or am I just not spelling his name right? Because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But usually Facebook's like, do you mean this guy? And you're like, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I know him. So I was
there's some guy getting messages somewhere.
But exactly. I'm just like shooting off messages like, are we cool, dude? Like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
But no, I sent a message to you, and I was just like, wait, I think, because a lot of times people don't use Messenger or something like that.
Yeah.
And also, you're one of the guys that has like a couple different accounts. So what account can people follow you for, like, your comedy?
So for comedy, anything, it's Instagram, Montague Comedy. It's Montague, which
Montague.
Everyone pronounces it wrong.
Right.
Exactly. I don't know why I haven't just embraced it or just taken the UE off of it, but
I do appreciate
that's true. You could do that.
But I like how your name now is phonetic, is like John Montague.
Oh, I put that on there because that became a thing when I moved to Philly. Like every mic I went to, I just have to spell it like it. And it took me 3 years of comedy to be like, yeah, idiot, just spell it like it's not like just spell it on the name on the list different so they say it properly, like or get a different name. But yeah, Montague Comedy. It's the only thing there is to plug or promote right now, I guess. I mean, if I am doing anything, it's on there. High Note Comedy on Wednesday nights. If pretty sure it's Wednesday nights. It's been so long. If you are in South Jersey, right across the bridge from Philadelphia, come on. We put the list up. I don't remember this stuff now. And it's not sign up by order, so it's you show up at 6 o'clock and you're guaranteed first. So
have you heard anything about like if it's coming back or anything?
Our thing is the bar that we we do it at. They've stayed open to do takeout food, and I've been trying to like promote. And they have really good wings. So if you're in the
I know. Every time we go, we get wings. Like I'm like, we're going there. Let's get wings.
Wednesday nights, I forget what the deal is, but they're really good, and they're still doing takeout. So I guess it's whenever they're cool with. I'm sure they're going to have their rules that we have to follow, but they really let us. We run our own thing in there. Like we set up and everything. They kind of let us do our own thing. So I'm sure as soon as they're open, we'll be allowed to open back up too. You know.
Oh yeah.
The good thing is
want something to bring people in.
I know Florida right now opened up restaurants at 50% capacity. So that's probably what will end up happening at those places. They'll just do it at a certain, capacity.
I'm interested how they're going to enforce that at Mike's, especially with like everyone coming and going, and you already get. I mean, do you just put out less seats? Like, and
So this is an idea that I just had that you can absolutely have. This is, and I think this would be fucking fun, and I think I would enjoy doing this as well. Is at High Note Humor, let's say even before they want to open up fully, right?
Right.
You make sure everybody's tested or whatever, as long as everybody can either, I'm sure we're all going to have papers or a sticker on our fucking ID or some shit. Some weird kind of like thing where you're like, I don't know if I'm for this, but if it's health reasons, I guess I can do it.
As long as you have the chip that they're going to implant.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah. Mind control device. But
I like mind control advice.
They're like, you should do this.
Write that down.
Yeah.
You should really, hit your state. Yeah. No, I think having the mic still or having comics up, and when people come in to pick up their order, you get a free roast. You get a free couple minutes of comedy. So
I would not go to that restaurant because I would not want to be roasted.
You just walk in,
just someone out
what did you get? And you have to do crowd work. You do crowd I like do
that
bits.
Crowd work. Yeah.
You do crowd work whenever they come in. You have to address it and you talk to them, but they're coming in for that experience. So it's almost like that restaurant where you go and the people are dickheads to you. Like it's like that thing. It's like a shtick. You get awesome wings, but then you also get.
If I'm gonna be able to go to Mike's with you.
Yeah, why not?
Because I don't know. Because they'll, what if I take the place of another comic? You know what I mean? Like,
then good.
You're doing a service. The problem is, it's
I'll tell you what. Let me pick them. I'll curate it, and then we'll just make it perfect. I'll tell you which comics shouldn't come.
Yeah.
No, you stay home.
Too is like they have all these things like restaurants and everything will be ran because there's managers and people where it's their their livelihood. These mics are ran by comics that are progressively drunk throughout the night. So it's going to be like, guys, 6 foot distance. And then like halfway through, it's like, you can kiss somebody if you want. Like, it's cool. Like,
it's like afterwards, it's like, that motherfucker didn't even shake my fucking hand. And he fucking fucked you. Your jokes suck anyway.
Yeah.
And you're like,
which I hate because I'm a big handshake guy. I love a good solid handshake, and this has been killing me. I hate fist bumps. I hate elbows. I love a good firm shake.
I like a shake. I like one of those. We were just talking about that too. We were talking about.
I'm good with not touching. I'm good with just like, hey.
It's funny because I hate it's weird. I am and I am not a hugger. I'm a drunk hugger. But
yeah, me too.
I like keeping my distance from people. But when I first see someone, I like that hey, we've been as close as we need to be. Now get away.
I just imagine you as like a borderline superhero that's just like rushing out to bars hugging drunks.
Hug drunk hugging.
Oh, don't be sad. You can do other things, buddy. Come on, your mom will love you one day. There we go. All right. Yeah, you don't have to do that. There you go.
There's just a light in the sky that's like a gentle hug.
You have like a thing, like a breathalyzer, and you're like,
not drunk enough.
Not drunk
enough.
Yeah. I'm sorry, ma'am. Please step away. You're only 0.1.
Yeah. We need some more drinks for this.
I need more drunk. She needs to
get her drunker.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's a predator. Cool.
So like,
there's a thin line between superhero and predator.
Hey, that's the line they all fucking do.
That's true.
I mean,
they all wear really tight clothing.
Right? Rorschach, they all wear masks. You know what I mean? If you watch the Watchmen series, that's
true.
So good.
Now we're all superheroes. No, I want to. There's so many things that are like on my list of like I need to watch that, and then I just rewatched Community for the 6th time.
Oh my god, that's what we did. We watched.
It's so good.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah. And like you're like I could get in.
You guys keep going.
Yeah, you're like I could get into a new thing, but I could, watch Andy and Now I'm drawing a blank. Hold on, Andy. What's Andy's? Yeah.
April.
Yeah. Andy and April. I need to watch their love story again.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see this thing maybe to play out differently this time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we watched. That's all we've done is rewatch stuff. We haven't really watched anything new. We watched Leftovers.
So I know Pat's a huge Leftovers guy, right? I remember from the Buddha Boys days of hearing him talk, and that's another one that's always on my list because I heard him talk about it so much that I'm like, I need to eventually into it, and I just never have. Like, and now's the time. Like, I have no reason not to.
Definitely that one. And then
we were watching Dead to Me with I'm so bad with names. Kelly Bundy from
yes. I want to say Alicia Silverstone, but that's not it.
No,
but yes,
that one's good. That was a good couple watch because it kind of was like we both enjoyed it.
I watch it. He doesn't. He's like, no. I don't watch that. Yeah, but I watch it.
I easily will cave to a good. My wife's watching the Nora's Neverending Playlist or whatever that was on NBC, where it's just like this woman gets in a car accident, and like it's kind of perverse when you really think about it. Like I think she was in a car accident. She got knocked in the head, and the result of it is she just hears people doing like big singing numbers. And she's the only one that hears it.
Oh, that'd be awful.
I immediately know what show you're talking about, and I hate it already.
So that's what my wife's watching now. And I come in and out. It's the perfect show to come in and out of. Like, last night I came in, and they were, like, doing a duet of a song that I love. So I was like, well, I'm going to sing this with you. So it's her and I for the rest of the night walking around singing it to our cats and to each other. Like,
that's the voice for us.
Yeah.
We watch The Voice.
Okay.
We're binging past episodes. So that's one thing that we don't. We're one of those idiots that doesn't have cable. So we're just streaming shit
same boat,
and friends' passwords and our passwords and whatever.
Yep.
And so The Voice is one of those things where we don't need to watch this live. And honestly, I hate every fucking story. I just want to watch the singing.
He's like,
you just want the singing parts.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't want to. Well, my mom died, and then I'm singing now because she's in heaven. Like. Fucking care.
Yeah.
And then like when they suck, like you like what are you trying to do? Why did you tell me about all that other bullshit? I don't fucking why did you make me wasted my time? Yeah.
So now you're sad and you're terrible? Like you're
this isn't gonna help you.
Right.
Give me sad and good.
You should be a little bit more disconnected. Do you think Britney Spears is that connected to her?
When they're super happy and terrible, where they're like, my life's great, nothing's ever gone wrong, and you're like, please be awful.
Yeah. I do enjoy that, but but at the end of it, we'll at least then you have something that you can like you have that shared of like, oh yeah, this song got stuck in my head too, or this one, or we'll sit there and we'll add it to our playlist.
Yeah, I'm like, I forgot about them. Yeah, that happened. Oh no, that was what was I watching? Something awful.
Yeah.
It was The Challenge.
Oh yeah.
And it was
Is that like
song on MTV.
Oh, The Challenge. Eve 6, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, Eve 6. Oh my god.
Was it Little Black Backpack?
Huh?
Was it Little Black Backpack?
No, it was
but that was Stroke 9, sorry.
Wrong number and wrong word, bud.
Same genre, could have been the same people. Just
yeah. But I spent 2 days listening to Eve 6, and I was like, oh my god, I remember this. And I had I saw them live when I was in high school, and I had a shirt that it was a baseball like tee, red sleeves, and it said "Tie me to the bedpost." On the back it said Eve 6. And my mom, my dad bought it for me at the show.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and
Pat's like, where's this shirt?
And then my mom was like, you're not wearing that to school. So I would always wear a different shirt. And then when I got to school, I would take it off.
Clever.
And then she would practice her lace tying and try to,
And I dyed my hair black. I was very, very emo.
Nice. What's funny? It's like looking back on that, I loved it at the time. I made fun of it. And now like I'm nostalgic. I organized and cleaned my garage yesterday while listening to the first 2 Newfound Glory albums. And it was the greatest 2 hours of my of quarantine so far. And I said to my wife, I was like, I don't know if you heard me. I was singing along in there. She's like, oh no, I heard you. And so did every neighbor. Because I forgot that the speaker was super loud, but it's pointed into the garage. So me singing was going out. And all they heard was just
my God, you.
And I get so whiny voice into it and it was perfect. And I was just the right level of drunk and nostalgic.
She's got to start. You got to tell her to start thinking more like your friends and start secretly recording you to embarrass you.
Yes.
The fact that she doesn't is amazing because, like, when you were talking about walk around singing songs that are stuck in your head, and the two of us do it, so it's probably why neither of us have recorded it.
Yeah.
We just plug, and I'm sure you guys probably do it too because with your cats, we just plug our cats' names into any song.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's just one. It's basically just about how one's the most handsome fat cat I know, and his name just goes in there.
Would you sing to, we sing, oh, Dubby Boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the song.
And because he's crying, usually. It's usually that because, I think I think about that a lot, actually. I'll see her, like, I'll be laying on, like, the foot of the bed, like, sideways, like, straight up having full-on conversations with my cat.
Yeah.
And, like, a silly voice and talking to them. And
baby talk.
Baby. And I see her, like, she's like this with her phone, but she's like doing this, and I'm like,
you're fake scrolling.
And I'm
no, I'm not.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like if this was me, I would videotape you, and I would either blackmail you, or I would,
or you would actually,
post it and just be like, and because I think it's genuinely sweet, and I'm not, I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed of it, but I'm not embarrassed to love my cats. Like I've admittedly said how much I absolutely love my cats.
Oh,
so I wouldn't ever be like that's bullshit. That's not me. I would just be like, you got me. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things of like, but that's those things that, like, I think it's so funny that if the role was reversed 9 times out of 10, I would absolutely do everything I can to embarrass you. I try to find pictures of her sleeping. Like, I try to get pictures of her when she passes out, like in the car or something like that.
I like your face just look like that's news to me. I like the idea of Pat does pursue the fight career, but then his downfall is right before his first fight, you leak out all the footage of him singing. Like, so he's like the meanest, toughest fighter ever. And then you're like, and here's him singing to Dobby. Like,
oh my gosh, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. You just sit on it just in case that fight career ever really takes off. That's going to be your moment, like in the in the movie where the wife's like, you need to pick us or fighting.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, you need to pick fighting or public embarrassment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Public embarrassment. Like, fuck it, public embarrassment. I'm like, no.
But then
anybody that wants to fucking talk shit about my cat, come talk to me.
Yeah.
It was just add a whole nother layer.
Yeah, you just embrace it, and you're just that softy that comes in and demolishes people's faces.
And then he'll have the cats in his corner.
Pat, the kitty cat lover, George.
We'll train him to bring the ice packs.
This is rough. Like, instead of getting like
your wounds.
Instead of getting like ice packs on your back, like the cat just hops up on your lap. You gotta, like, you spend
just rubbing its head into you.
You spend half the corner break just going. Yes, come on.
And they've got the ice pack. Like, no, I don't want to. I don't feel like
they're like running through your legs.
That's great.
What should I do, Dobby?
I just like the idea of the over the shoulder, the trainer talking to the fighter, but it's just all meows and cries, and you're just like, definitely. I do have to work the left harder in there. You're right.
Yeah, he's getting that jab in there in the middle. I
got to shoot sooner. You're right. There. Thanks.
Right.
Like,
who wants earlobes?
Yeah. Now you go back to sleeping for most of the fight.
Yeah. Not
Get
watching any of it.
Like the whole time you're like trying to like corral it out of the ring.
No.
No, that way. Not that side. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm
so sorry. I'll get him out of here.
I'll get back to punching you in a moment. Just
Can you just shake the treats over there? Dana, can you shake the treats? Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
Joe Rogan just got kitty litter.
Yeah, catnip. He's got the catnip.
Kitty litter.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Wife George on Instagram, wife_George, sorry, and PG comedian. John, you've been an absolute delight.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. I love it.
Oh yeah, this is a lot of fun.
We love you.
Oh, I miss you guys.
Bruce.